Right, though, we'll move on to Desperado, I guess, Scott.
Yes, so 3 years later, and with the better part of $7 million more to spend on it, which is basically $7 million more, Rodriguez returns to the mariachi character, if not the actor. Antonio Banderas picks up the guitar case, and this time around he's much happier with it being full of guns. He's apparently now out to kill all drug lords, and he's going after a kingpin called Bucho, stymied somewhat by not knowing what he looks like. However, he looks like Joaquim de Almeida, because that's who's playing him. Mariachi is aided in this by his friend Buscemi, played by, check notes, Steve Buscemi? God damn it, Chad, I thought I told you to sub-edit this. It can't possibly be... You're sure? Jesus. Anyway, aided by Buscemi, he starts shaking the trees and seeing what falls out, and that's largely Bucho's goons and automatic weapons. During one exchange, he saves the life of Salma Hayek's bookstore and cafe owner, Carolina, and the two strike up a relationship. However, this will be complicated by the shocking coincidence that she's kinda sorta in a relationship with Bucho. A coincidence only topped by the revelation of Bucho's true identity uncovered in the final confrontation with Mariachi, which is intentionally, I'm sure, straight out of a telenovela. While plotting this sort of thing is never really a primary concern, even by the genre's low standards, this is a bit of a muddle, and frankly a bit of a step downwards from El Mariachi, a trend line that unfortunately continued downwards with Once Upon a Time in Mexico. However, having more budget and, well, a crew does allow for a few upgrades. While no one's really being stretched here, no one's going to say no to Banderas and Hayek's involvement, and bringing on Guillermo Navarro as a cinematographer, who would go on to a number of fruitful Del Toro collaborations, lends for a very nice looking slice of action. And of course, he has the obvious advantage of shooting on 35mm film and not the 3.5mm film that debuts in El Mariachi. Now, I'm not sure at this point I've got all that much more to tell you about Desperado. It's a very slickly executed, enjoyable action flick, owing a fair amount to the 80s excess heyday of the genre, as opposed to the watered-down PG-friendly trend that would have been in full swing even back when this was created. Sure, the plot's barely worth bothering about, but there's enough charisma from the leads to bluster through, and supporting turns from the actors and the pyrotechnics help things along nicely. So, compared to El Mariachi, you do rather miss out on spotting the moments of budget-stretching ingenuity and the much more coherent plot, but you gain a whole bucket load of slickness. Which is better? Well, that's perhaps a matter of taste. I'd recommend that you watch both and make your own mind up.
Yes, but the correct answer is the first one, obviously.
Yes.
I don't have a lot to add to that, Scott. It was originally proposed, Desperado, as a English language remake of the first one, and yes. I think a little of that still persists in the plot.
It's similar to the first one, but it's not identical. It's similar.
And Salma Hayek may as well be Domino, though. That's perhaps the closest part. I mean, it's got a Quentin Tarantino in it, so there's that. Which is, as much as I like Quentin Tarantino's film, I do not enjoy seeing Quentin Tarantino on screen.
On the plus side, he dies.
It's a fun film. The revelation of Bucho's identity, though, is definitely one of those, go and do something nasty to yourself kind of things, because it's unnecessary and impossible to believe. It's like, why did it need to be that? There was no suggestion of that at any point up to this point, the two films, so that came out of nowhere. I was like, nah. Yeah. But, it's fun. I like Antonio Banderas a lot. He's certainly doing a pretty good job there. I don't know how good his accent is in terms of sounding like a Mexican, but I know he certainly managed to not use the Spanish sort of lisped S sound.
Yeah.
So he's certainly worked on it there a bit. He's likeable, like Salma Hayek a lot. Strange though that your very successful Mexican film that got you on the map, you'd come to make a sequel and recast your lead as a Spaniard, your villain as a Portuguese. Mm-hmm. A couple of you put Quentin Tarantino in it at all. A couple of weird casting choices. Not that they're bad, it just seems odd. Danny Trejo, maybe underused, but I guess that's so they could bring him back to waste him by having him in the third film at all, and hope you forget he's in this. Yeah. It's strange. His name's Navajas, which I think means blades. Again, he doesn't have the best character names, really.
But blades, functional, yeah.
Big moustache man. Who apparently can kill people, including Steve Buscemi, by throwing a couple of knives maybe a centimetre into their torso, where all the vital stuff is, I guess.
Hit him right in the chakra.
Yeah. these are, of course, the things I think about when I watch any film. So you may not be bothered by such things. It just all struck me as a little ridiculous. You're seeing Steve Buscemi lying in the street and like, yeah, but they're barely in his skin. Why is he dead? Oh, right, I get it. He died of plot. Okay.
The knives were coated with a potent neurotoxin, as well you know.
Ah, right.
It's set up in the comic books in the expanded Mariachi universe.
But yeah, they're a good pair, and I kind of feel like they should have stopped there, because given how poor Once Upon a Time in Mexico is, it's so strange though to, I mean, again, I'm not going to say too much because we did speak about it in that other episode, but it's strange to have two films with the mariachi character and take the third character and have him be a side character.
Yes.
For the third film, have him be a side character. Very strange.
Yeah, I do wonder if there was much point in creating a franchise, if you like, about the mariachi character as well. Particularly because the mariachi character in Desperado isn't really all that related to the one that was in the first one. In terms of the first one, it's a case of mistaken identity. He's really, he is shocked about having to kill someone, all these kind of things. But by this point, he's just Random Assassin number 5. So why not just make it about Random Assassin number 5 and have a completely different film?
Yeah, because he's, in the first film, he's just this kind of nice, likeable young guy, just looking for a job. And then a crap ton of horrible stuff happens to him, just because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Whereas, Desperado, the mariachi's become, he's basically a vigilante.
Yes.
And Death Wish and 1,000 other films have had basically that character. Whereas, I guess El Mariachi feels a little bit different.
Yeah. And I didn't necessarily at the end of El Mariachi get the sense that this was where the character would head as well. It doesn't quite follow for me for that as well.
Because it didn't seem like he'd be violent or anything. It's like, I managed to get away from this with my life. Okay, I'll just try and stay away from all of this nonsense in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do sort of feel quite tenuously linked character-wise, I guess. It's not to say it's not worth watching, of course. They're fun films.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you like Rodriguez's other stuff, actually, you should definitely watch the first film, just see where it all began. See his inventiveness, that kind of energy brought to that first film without having a particularly great plot or anything and much to work with, but you've got the kind of fun film out of that.
Yeah.
And then Desperado, because it's an interesting follow-up.
Oh, yeah.